Well, go on once again, good people. How are you feeling? I hope you're feeling good.
Hello.
This is selection of sports, and we're going to be going into some football. We're going to be looking at the FA Cup and seeing who's playing who. We're just going to go through the fixtures, so you know who's playing who on the
Third round of the FA Cup.
On the 4th of January, 5th of January and 6th of January, which is usually the first weekend in the new year. Yeah, so we'll go through all of the matches. So you go up to there. You start.
So the first fixture, the fixtures are as follows: Bristol City versus Shrewsbury Town, Millwall versus Newport County, Rotherham United versus Hull City, Rochdale or Boston versus Newcastle United, Birmingham City versus Blackburn, and Burnley versus Peterborough United.
So all those matches will be kicking off at 12:30 on Saturday the 4th. Then at 3 p.m. you have Brighton versus Sheffield Wednesday, Cardiff City versus Carlisle United, Fulham versus Aston Villa, Oxford United versus Hartlepool United, Southampton versus Huddersfield, Brentford versus Stoke City, Preston North End versus Norwich City, Reading versus Blackpool, Plymouth Rovers, Bristol Rovers versus it's yet to be decided. So the, Plymouth will be playing Bristol Rovers in a replay, and then whoever wins that match will play Coventry City. Watford versus Tranmere is the other match kicking off at 3 p.m. Then at 5:30 on Saturday, there's quite a few matches, ladies and gents, quite a few matches.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. Watford versus Tranmere Rovers, AFC Bournemouth versus Luton Town, Leicester City versus Wigan Athletic, Wolverhampton Wanderers versus Manchester United, Fleetwood Mac versus Portsmouth.
It's not Fleetwood Mac, that's a band.
Sorry, people.
From the 70s, Fleetwood Town.
Fleetwood Town versus Portsmouth. Manchester City versus Port Vale.
Right.
They will be kicking off at 5:30 on Saturday.
Yeah, so those are Saturday's matches. Sunday now, there's still quite a few games. Kicking off at 2 in the afternoon is Charlton Athletic versus West Brom. Chelsea are playing Nottingham Forest. Crewe Alexandra play Barnsley. Middlesbrough are at home to Tottenham. QPR, Queen's Park Rangers. Yay!
No, local teams.
Are home to Swansea City. Sheffield United play AFC Flyd. It must be a non-league team. Good luck to you. Oh, good luck to them. If they are a non-league team, because that's Sheffield United happen to be a Premier League team. So,
be a good story.
Burton Albion versus Northampton Town, Crystal Palace versus Derby County, and Liverpool versus Everton.
Oh, that's the big one.
And Gillingham. Oh, that's at 4 p.m. And Gillingham play West Ham United at 6:15. That's probably on BBC. And then on the Monday,
there'll be Arsenal versus Leeds United, which is another big sort of game.
Yeah, classic little FA Cup game. There's been many I think they played each other in the final once, and there's been some classic FA Cup ties between them. I remember a couple of 1-1 draws back in the day, where they, Paul Merson pulled a couple of goals out of the hat. Good old days. Yeah, so
days when Arsenal used to win.
So what was I going to say? Yeah, so there's quite a few games that could cause an upset in the third rounds. Now that these teams from the Premier League have joined in the competition, that is what tends to happen.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not in good form or they're not the best of teams. Or a team like Sheffield Wednesday, who are doing quite well in the Championship, could face a team that not the greatest of teams, Brighton, and beat them. Fulham, even though they got relegated last season, they could do one over Aston Villa. That could be interesting.
Yeah, it's possible.
Preston North End, they got to the EFL Cup semi-final a few seasons back. Played at Manchester City. They had a good team back then. Don't know if the team's as good as they were then, but they could give Norwich a tough task, indeed. Okay, Port Vale. That would be.
Manchester City.
I doubt they'd beat Manchester City, but that would be a major upset.
Oh yeah.
If they were to beat them.
I'm sure there will be one or two. I mean, there always is in the FA Cup.
Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest upset Arsenal a few seasons ago. Perhaps they could go to Stamford Bridge, which is not the same fortress that it has been in the past.
Yeah, they've been losing games there. And they just lost one to Bournemouth on the weekend.
Yeah, exactly. So Nottingham Forest could perform an upset. Middlesbrough at home to Tottenham, who are okay. Mourinho has taken over and they seem to have won a few games, but are they?
A few games too.
Yeah, exactly. Are they better, or are they in the same caliber? Is that defense shaky? He said, so far, from what I've read, he's not looking to buy any players in the transfer window. So, would he rest players? That could be an interesting one.
A lot of the Premier League teams do rest players, so
yeah,
that's where there's the possibility of an upset.
Exactly. Another upset, definitely. Crystal Palace versus Derby County.
Yeah, it looks like Wayne Rooney is their coach.
Frank Lampard's previous team, so they would still have remnants of that good team that he was building. And Crystal Palace, they are doing well at the moment, but you never know. A team that's not doing too well at the moment is West Ham United, and they are away, which is always tricky in the FA Cup.
Oh, they did win at the weekend.
Yeah, they're still not doing too well.
No.
Pellegrini is probably a few games away from being sacked, because it hasn't gone too well for him since he's been at the club. And
it's a London team.
I think that's maybe why that's on the television, because
they're not going to show Liverpool-Everton live.
Yeah, that's on probably that's a 4 o'clock kickoff, so that's probably on the Sky Sports. But the maybe I'm wrong, but the 6:15 one is probably going to be on the BBC. That's why it's at that time, the unusual time, for a Sunday evening. Another upset is quite possible if Arsenal don't fix up in the next few months, if they don't acquire a good manager that can fix up the defence,
sort things out, and there's a lot of work to do.
Leeds United, I think they're on the up. I'm not too sure about how good they have been in recent teams. I think Eddie Nketiah, who's an Arsenal player, he's on loan there, but hasn't really played too much. So it will be very interesting to see whether Arsenal, they are at home, so that's always a good thing for if you're in the FA Cup. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Also, there are 2 all Premier League ties. One is Wolverhampton versus Manchester United.
It's highly likely that Manchester United could get beaten because Wolves are at home.
Wolves are the team that knocked them out of the same competition last season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
and that was I think that was at Old Trafford. This time now, as you say, they're at Wolves' home, so that will be a very tough task. Very tough task for Manchester United. Indeed, they seem to be on the up,
Oh yeah.
and their recent results would hopefully they can continue the enthusiasm that they and the inspiration they would have got from beating Manchester City. For them anyway, I don't really care. Hopefully not. Hopefully they lose and get knocked out by Wolves. I like Wolves.
They're
Wolves.
a good team. They've got a good coach.
Yeah, that's what I like.
A very well organised team.
Esperanto is a very good coach. And I hope he stays in the Premier League because he's got a darker. It's probably the darkest manager in the Premier League at the moment.
Sounds like you want him to be an Arsenal coach.
If he was, I wouldn't say no, but you never know. The prospect that they are looking to acquire that I've seen in the last few hours, I wouldn't mind to see what he's got. Okay, he hasn't had an experience, but he's meant to have a very good football mind, which is what I'd like to see.
Well, he's taken Wolves to.
No, I'm talking about Arteta.
Oh, Arteta.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's who's. Suppose Arsenal are meant to be in talks with Manchester City at this moment in time. But we didn't want to go there because this is going to be going out in a couple of weeks, and people will be like, "Oh, get confused." They may have a new manager by then.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the other tie is another team who doesn't have a manager at this moment in time, but by the time this is up on YouTube on Bleak Entertainment, they could have a new manager. Everton.
Versus Liverpool at Anfield.
Yeah, it could be another knockout for Everton. But you never know. You never know what happens with their new manager. If they get a new manager before the transfer window, could acquire some players. And the FA Cup. The thing about the FA Cup, it always levels. That's why you get loads of upsets and stuff. It always levels. The two teams tend to level each other out, and it is a cup competition.
It's a knockout game.
So you never know. Referees could have their say. On goals, deflections. Don't know what could happen.
Yeah.
Injuries
Weather conditions could affect things.
Injuries to key players at key moments.
Yeah.
So you don't know. It could be just gives Everton fans some hope. Because boy, after the last game, I'm sure when they saw they got Liverpool, as much as they want to beat their City rivals, they probably are a bit upset every time it happens.
Yeah, they probably would rather play Tranmere Rovers off their two neighbours.
So I've just been distracted by a former Arsenal player is on the television. I can't remember her name right now, but she's very pretty. Anyway, I think we have come to the end of. We've spoken about all of the matches. We've gone through the fixtures, and we've. I think that is our. We done, boy. We done. Yes, because we got things to do. I assume you gotta go and get your car?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we done. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir, sayonara.
See you again.